Hello again, we're back in the garage and we've got a guest tonight. John's come round and he's helped with the alternator. I can't stand next to John. We've got, I've known John for probably 40 years, it must be. Been a long time, we did karting together and John's got a rally car.
I have indeed.
I'm interviewing you, but I'm not letting you say anything at the moment. So John's come round to have a look at the car and sort out the alternator. Can you just explain what you've done? Because it was all a bit, I just thought you put a wire to it and off you went, but
So what we've done is we've created a good path for the electrics to flow from the alternator and to the alternator. It's all about creating a circuit back to the battery,
right,
which is sometimes overlooked on the return path, what you would call the negative cable.
right.
So that's often overlooked, as you know, from what you've seen when you did your work. So we've put in a cable that is adequate to take the 100 amps that your alternator's producing.
Right, can we just look at that? I mean, that compared to what we had before is, we were just saying, weren't we? There was two cables, but they were thin, and they were a lot smaller than this one cable. Yeah. Sorry, I'm interrupting. Go on, carry on. Carry on. Yeah, I just want to.
And also, you're using a proper automotive cable, like I just explained to you.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if you can see it, but the inner core is actually two different.
Yeah, you can definitely see it there because it's sort of sunk in a bit there.
You've got like a middle section and an outer section, and this is done to create, like I say, basic terms, a wave that will push the electrics through.
Right.
I think it's called exciting.
Right. It is exciting.
And so, as I say, we've created a proper path now from your battery to the alternator and then back through
that, and also the earth lead, which you said, which I never thought of, is as important as the power feed as well, isn't it? So
so it's important to match your, if we call them a feed and a negative, a positive and a negative cable, it's important to have the negative cable to the same capacity, amps capacity, as the positive.
Right. So basically, there's a good chance that this was what the problems were throughout because I know there's been a lot of alternator problems with this, and I don't think it's ever had a decent power feed.
No.
That it's and an earth feed as well.
No. So
fingers crossed that's.
As I've explained to you, and I know I'm not an expert. I've learned through years of trial and error. Yeah. But auto electrics is kind of a little bit of a black art, because you're dealing with a singular power source like a battery, and obviously when you're working on it, you're draining the power, or you've got to have the car running all the time, and that becomes a bit of a pain. Taking hours to do some wiring, you can't have the car running. But while you're doing the testing, you've got to be aware that the voltage is slowly being used up with all the other parts.
So hopefully that's this engine compartment done. There's other issues, isn't there, like you were just talking about earths and bring things in, and they're old cars and they're not getting younger, and you very kindly offered to have a look inside at the wiring, but I think we'll leave that for
I don't think we'll
I think that's a task and a mission to get accomplished in.
But it's something to do after the rally, you know what I mean, because it's going to get quite involved. Yeah,
and it works as it is.
Yes.
This was an issue because it was smoking, and that could, if that happened on the start line. And what was happening when it was smoking, it wasn't starting because obviously the power surge going to that, or I don't understand, but it just wasn't starting. So hopefully now that's cured that problem, and it's one thing less to worry about.
That's very true.
Yeah. So thank you very much, John, and thank you for letting
me
interview you. Good stuff for that. And
I'm a YouTube virgin.
Right. There's still more to do, bits and pieces, got to do tyre pressure and all that, but nice one. Cheers, John, thanks for coming round. Thanks again to John for popping round and having a look at the car. It's very interesting what he was coming out with. I always just thought basic, positive, and then earth. He was going on about earths and how important it is to get a decent earth, especially with an older car. So he tends to get a main earthing point in the car and take an earth to each corner, so he can run like the front right lights off an earth and the front left lights and rear right and rear left and fuel pumps and what have you. and it just makes the flow much better for the electric. I've always just bolted an alternator to the engine and then stuck a power lead to it. Most of the engine changes I've done have come with the power lead anyway, so that just goes to the battery. So it was interesting. I think the problems that were there were like John said, not enough power going to the, not enough of a lead going from the alternator to the battery. So I don't really know much about alternators, but maybe if they're generating power and they haven't got enough leads to get to the battery, or there's a problem with the earth, so it's not making a circuit, that it affects the alternator, because I know there has been a lot of problems with this alternator. So fingers crossed, hopefully that's sorted out. I mean, it can't be that hard, can it, to get an alternator to work on an engine? And the reason the earth is so important, all the engines I've done, engine swaps and that, the alternator bolts directly to the engine. So you get a really good earth through the engine touching the alternator. Whereas this one, it's got rubber mounted alternator mounts, so it stops the earthing. It's all isolated. So fingers crossed, hopefully. Now, it was lovely John to pop round, see me. He's got a Mark II Escort. He's got a lovely 2.5 litre Vauxhall engine, sequential box and all that. So hopefully we'll get a look at his car, we'll go around, have a look and give it the once over and do a little interview with it when he's got time. Right, thanks for watching. See you next time.